Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip. However, some of these altcoins getting a bit of relief. Bitcoin down approximately 2%, while the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, some of them are bouncing 5-10%, give or take. The question is, are we done with this dip? Is Bitcoin done bringing fear to this market? Or are we just getting a temporary relief to the upside before we continue down? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I just want to focus on Bitcoin today. Is it going to come down? Is it going to continue bleeding out this market? Are we getting that bounce? So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the overall market, as we do see the market cap still grinding to the downside, another 3% dip. And of course, this is because Bitcoin is showing weakness and the altcoins, some of them are showing a bit of strength, getting a bit of relief to the upside. The issue is that if Bitcoin continues falling, there's no doubt that the fear is going to cause a further dip in the altcoin market. So just be very careful here. We do see a bit of trading volume happening in the last little while as the market cap continues to fall, which means that market participation is currently still interested in this sell-off. And this is why we're seeing Bitcoin dip a little bit further. As we keep on going down through the top 100, we're going to scrape to the top 100 real quick. Then we'll jump right into the Bitcoin chart and kind of see where we're at the current moment, because you can see it's showing a lot of weakness still. Is down 2% in the last 24 hours, and the last 7 days have been pretty bad for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, the two heavyweights of the market, showing this type of weakness. It doesn't look good big picture, right? Even for the other altcoins. Despite that, we have been seeing a bit of relief today, just a little bit. Guys, let's not get too excited here because you don't want to get all trapped up, but just a bit of relief. BNB getting a nice bounce. We have Solana getting a decent little bounce, but really structurally speaking, we did not make a higher high or anything like that. A higher high or a higher low would be good after a couple of days of red to give us an indication of a change of character, but we're not really getting that yet, guys. It's a little bit too soon, right? A bit of relief is great. Of course, if you're on a short-term time frame trading to the upside, congrats, obviously. But until we see a good level of support, just anticipate that the trend in the short term is your friend and it's going to be continuing coming down. And this is why you got to be prepared for that possibility. As we keep on going down, you can't see that this is a 1 hour fractal here, and it is kind of flatlining, which is not a bad sign. 4 hour starting to look like it bottomed out a little bit across the market. The daily is what still keeps me bearish overall throughout the market. However, guys, look, if you're going to take a bit of risk in the next little while, it's not a bad time. If you look at some of these altcoins, they're down double-digit dips, 20%, some of them 30%, you know, and depending even on the market cap, some of them are down much more. So we have to understand that either way, even if you start DCAing right now, you're not buying the top, you're not exit liquidity, you're taking full advantage of a decent correction on some really good projects. Look at Phantom down 29%, guys, from the top. We have Caspa down 21%, Filecoin 26%. You know, you name it. There's dips to be had right now, and dips are meant to be bought. And you can see that many good projects, Stacks down 34%, guys. 34% dip is a really good opportunity to start packing a bit of a bag. And of course, reserve some of that capital just in case it keeps on coming down. You can scale in even further and take advantage of more fire sales. But ultimately, now's the time. Now's the time to start getting offensive and start looking for opportunity to the upside. Now, before I get overly bullish here, because of course I'm staying very neutral with a tad bit of bullishness here for this reversal that we're going to be expecting very soon. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Bitcoin and use that as a leading indicator. Let's get right into it, guys, because I know you're here to talk about charts. So let's do it. Bitcoin at the current moment is definitely showing us weakness still. Even today, despite what's happening with the alts, we see Bitcoin still pushing down, hitting about $92,500 as we speak. And as we see these red candles come in on the daily, it looks like we want to get completely oversold. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. You can see that in the last little bit, guys, I've been very, very critical of the market, especially as we were grinding to the upside with low volume. I'm just going to focus on the daily here for 1 second. And I'm going to shift this over because this is what we've been using in the last bit to track the 4 hour. And it's been working out pretty good. Everything that we've discussed here on the channel in the last couple of weeks, few weeks, in fact, before the dip, we were prepared for this correction, guys. This is where I was like, guys, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Bitcoin. I'm not interested in altcoins. I'm not interested in this crypto market at the current moment because everything looks frothy. And now we're in at a level that, yes, you know, it did go up a little bit higher, but we're at a level where the call, let's call it the call, is now net positive. We are below the call of where we should have gotten risk off. And now we are getting to a point where we're going to start looking for risk on scenarios. I still feel like we're a little bit early here to consider risk on at the current moment. As you can see, Bitcoin on the daily is not showing that much strength. Are we looking for support right now? We are touching the 50 daily EMA, which is obviously a good level of a bounce, but it's not guaranteed. The 200 is still far away, very extended away from the price action, meaning that, look, we could still come down, roll around this level for a bit, allow the 200 daily to catch up, and then finally get that bounce that we're all looking for. But what concerns me the most, guys, is this. Just hold on. Let me make this a bit bigger. You can see that the momentum is still pushing down. We're almost oversold, but this is the concern. If the purple line gets to the oversold condition below the 30% mark, guys, we are going to see an $87,000 Bitcoin, and at worst case scenario, depending on the sell-off, we could come down as low as about 77 and still remain bullish and still be in confluence with the 200 daily, still be in confluence with the legacy trend line from down to this level, and still be bullish for a bull run, because ultimately a $77,000 Bitcoin is still very possible because of the liquidity zone below that might act as support and hopefully cause that zone to close the volume gap, the CME gap and all of that kind of thing, and obviously even this volume gap right here. So there's a lot to be considered. Now, at the end of the day, I'm expecting an $87,000 Bitcoin. If this gets oversold, if it gets worse than that, guys, we're going to have to take it day by day. But at the current moment, you can see that the trend EMA is facing down, red histogram bars here on the daily. Nothing is bullish about this daily time frame at the current moment. We have to be clear about that. So if we do see any bullishness on the 4 hour, it could be a major reversal. Obviously, you know, we don't know exactly. Nobody has a crystal ball to tell you exactly, but the likelihood is that it's going to maybe present us with a bit of relief to the upside and then finally get this daily oversold. And that's where we start to look for reversal structures on the bigger time frames, because bigger time frame reversal structures are super strong and ultimately a lot more reliable when you're looking at oscillators. Okay, so this is something that we definitely have to consider. Now let's drop to the 4 hour real quick and let's see what's happening. We can see that we're currently at the moment looking to make a lower low here on this last dip, where a lot of people got bullish on this recovery, and of course that's not enough data. Hopefully a lot of people didn't get trapped up in bullish sentiment when the trend is still your friend and still pushing down. Unfortunately, that's the way the market tends to do. It tends to want to invoke emotions where emotions are not meant to be, and this is where you get all trapped up in them. Now, we did analyze this early on, guys. I am definitely moving this around just a little bit to be a little bit more accurate with this, but honestly, everything that I've suggested here that the market's going to be doing is actually playing out pretty perfectly. Now the question is, how low do we go here, guys? Do we come down for a lower low, or do we make a higher low, or what do we do? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. All I do know at the current moment, we're fighting for a lower low. And if you look at the momentum here on the 4-hour, we are sticking to oversold conditions. And at the current moment, if the price action, let me just scooch this over again so that we can see price action. And let me just kind of make this small so we can have more real estate on what I'm talking about. And ultimately, let's do one of these. Now you can see that we are making a double bottom-ish currently, not confirmed yet because we can come down for a lower low and still maintain a higher low on the momentum. That would be a class C at the current moment, or a class A if we make the lower low, which is still a good sign for a divergence. However, guys, if we see the purple line get oversold again, back into the oversold state, and even worse, if it gets even a lower low in comparison to the previous oversold state, guys, it's not a good look, because we're just basically coming down, and we're coming down hard, and not a good look for Bitcoin, not a good look for the altcoins, not a good look for everything, because the fear that will be brought to the table if Bitcoin does this is going to cause the entire market to sell off. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, another aspect of this chart that I don't particularly like still, even here on the 4-hour, even if we are oversold on the momentum, that's the only thing that I'm a little bit interested in, is the fact that we are oversold and getting a bit of divergence. But look at the trend line, the trend oscillator. Let's make this a bit bigger. Let's see what's going on here. On the 4-hour, we're in the bearish control zone. We're still pushing down, and we just got a big fake out here on the oscillator, where we see an EMA opening up to the downside once again after a bit of an indecision that we have identified yesterday. And when we see indecision, guys, it's very important to say, you know what, if the market doesn't know what it wants to do, then why am I going to get involved? I want confirmations. I want clarity. I don't want sideways choppy price action that, you know, totally gets you wrecked. You got to wait for direction, and clearly the trend oscillator has defined the direction at the current moment. Even if it's a short-term decision, it doesn't matter. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, and if this pressure continue building, guys, we could definitely get a long squeeze at this level and get another dip to much lower levels. And again, you know, reaching that 87,000, maybe even a little bit lower to hit that support, guys, is totally healthy, totally fine. And at this point, I'm expecting it. Unfortunately, I am. Okay, so what does this mean about the altcoins? Now, we covered Bitcoin right now very thoroughly, and one thing that I want to really bring to our attention is the relationship that Bitcoin currently has with the altcoin market. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly put this back, and I'm going to go and bring our attention to the Bitcoin dominance. Obviously, guys, I'm going to look at the Bitcoin dominance again tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a good time and place to make the requests. I pull up the charts, we go over the TA, and we come up with the strategy, because right now, at this current moment, this is the time to develop strategy, because we should be going offensive very soon. We went from a risk off scenario to a a risk on scenario where there was a lot less risk at the current moment. So we should be identifying this risk on opportunity very soon. Now, if we start looking at some of these altcoins by comparing it to the Bitcoin dominance, are we going to start taking risk on altcoins? Now, what's happening here is quite interesting, because Bitcoin dominance is actually falling. And the reason why this is happening is because altcoins are getting a bit of relief. We've seen that. I would say a few percent to the upside today is pretty healthy, pretty nice. But Bitcoin is falling a lot harder, which means that ultimately that relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins suggests that Bitcoin is behaving a lot weaker than the altcoin market. However, just keep that in mind, that Bitcoin, because of its market cap and its influence over the entire market, if it continues falling, guys, we don't know what's going to happen. The Bitcoin dominance almost becomes irrelevant, because it's likely that both asset classes, both Bitcoin and the altcoin market, fall. Now, the question is, which one's going to fall harder? And that will still impact and change the dynamics of the Bitcoin dominance. For example, if altcoins fall, but Bitcoin falls harder, Bitcoin dominance will still continue coming down. But it doesn't mean that altcoins won't dip. Just remember, altcoins have smaller market caps, and it makes it's a lot less capital to make them fall. Whereas Bitcoin falling requires a lot more capital to outflow and ultimately cause a bigger impact on the Bitcoin dominance. Remember, Bitcoin dominance is slightly deceiving, and you really have to understand the dynamics on how it works to be able to interpret it correctly. Right now, all we're describing is that Bitcoin is falling, large market cap, versus the altcoin market, which is kind of like bouncing around 2 to 3%, give or take, and ultimately looking pretty good. But if Bitcoin keeps on falling down and brings more fear into into the market, those altcoins are going to come down for another 10% move, and that's not a good look for the altcoin market. So we have to understand the dynamics. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't take a bit of risk in these next couple of days, because like I said, risk on is going to be coming very, very soon. But DCA, guys, don't deploy all the capital, because the way things are going right now, it's a little bit indecisive. It's a little bit, I would say, almost like a buy the rumor, sell the news, or a sell and may go away type of scenario. We're in the holidays, guys. There's people that are, you know, taking some time off. They're stepping away from the charts. They're stepping away from the office. They're focusing on family and friends. It could be that we have a very dry market until the new year, guys. And in the meantime, enjoy the time with your family and your friends, and let the charts resolve themselves, and we'll get back in here nice and strong as soon as we see some good confirmations, and obviously to the upside. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. 8 p.m. EST. I'm going live. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.